Another beautiful day here in San Diego and another quiet day for the Toronto Blue Jays, joined once again by Shi Davidi, Mike Wilner, Ben Nicholson-Smith. And gentlemen, Blue Jays haven't really done much, but they still have one pretty good trade chip in Dioner Navarro. I'm going to ask each one of you, do you expect Navarro to be moved at any point soon? And realistically, what could the Blue Jays expect in return for a guy like Dioner?
I think the Blue Jays are in a bit of a waiting game right now with Dioner Navarro because they are set on getting some value in return. They don't just want to move him to get the $5 million salary, free that up, and reallocate that. They believe they can get a chip for him, and they've got a chance to get it because you look at what's on the free agent catching market, it is very, very weak. There are some guys out there in trades which would be appealing, but Navarro's one-year commitment at $5 million, a very reasonable salary. I think they've got the potential to get themselves a reliever of some sort.
And they've got leverage, too, because they don't need to trade him. There's a place for Dioner Navarro on this team if they have to keep him. He'll DH a little bit of the time. He can be the backup catcher. Maybe Russ Martin will be able to catch R.A. Dickey. So there's no rush at all. They can hold on as long as they have to until somebody meets their price.
And we did see one catcher get traded today in Miguel Montero, and he has a lot more money than Navarro does on his contract. We're talking around $40 million. So I think that if he has trade value, then Dioner Navarro definitely does.
Regardless of what Alex Anthopoulos or John Gibbons say, I have to think that it's going to be an awkward situation if Dioner Navarro is with the Blue Jays come spring training?
Maybe, but a lot of it will be set up by how much playing time they can give to Navarro and make him feel comfortable that he has a suitable role, make him think that he's going to be able to put up enough numbers to platform well heading into a free agent year for him. And ultimately, the need could change over time. And Navarro can't come into camp in a position where he's looking like he's sulking and doesn't want to be a part of things, because that'll be ultimately counterproductive from him. From what we've realized about him last year, I don't think he's a selfish guy. So, I mean, does that have the potential? Sure, and I'm certain he's not happy about being displaced, but if he sulks around, he only stands to lose from it.
And the truth of the matter is, and maybe this sounds a little bit harsh, but even if he's not happy about it, he's making $5 million, and this is a guy who spent most of 4 of the last 5 years in the minor leagues. I think he'll be all right with that.
I agree, and I think if anyone can transition from a part-time role to a full-time salary, it's Navarro. I mean, he did that with the Cubs in 2013 when he played, I think, 89 games behind the plate before transitioning into an $8 million multi-year deal with Toronto.
Yesterday we spoke about the hit and miss on whether the Blue Jays are going to go for one big guy or a few of the smaller guys. Today, Alex Anthopoulos said, he wouldn't be opposed to going more than 1 year on a contract, but it was also brought up to his attention, Mike Wilner, about the fact that maybe you look at maybe a veteran guy that has closing experience that may come on the cheap. What kind of names would you think would be out there?
Well, I think there are a lot of guys out there. There's that second tier behind Robertson and Andrew Miller of guys who were closers, but then you've got John Axford, you've got Alexi Agondo, you've got Mike Adams, you've got Jason Mott, who I love, and all these guys were among the best relievers in Major League Baseball 2 or 3 years ago. This isn't dumpster diving. This is trying to find value in a guy who's not going to be looking for too much, who has the potential to be a phenomenal relief arm.
And get some good repetitions. I think you look at the Blue Jays bullpen right now, and one reason that it will appeal to free agents is that they don't have anyone in those spots right now. Yes, you're going to have Brett Cecil and Aaron Loup in the middle innings, but the 8th, the 9th inning, that's pretty up for grabs, and I think that would appeal to free agents.
The one risk in taking that approach, however, is that you don't have a lot of certainty, and if things break wrong, you don't have a lot of insurance protection, and that's why there's strength in numbers. They're going to try to get as much volume as possible if they decide to go down that road. I still think there's a possibility that they load up on one higher end type of guy. I mean, Luke Gregerson seems to be someone that they've shown some interest in, but if they don't protect themselves by going that route, then they certainly have to load up in volume in case somebody doesn't break the right way.
But can they not, let's say, get a Luke Gregerson for $7 million for this year, and then get 2 of Mott, Adams, Agondo, and who's the other one? Axford. Yeah. For $3 million, and then you got 3 guys for less than what it costs for David Robertson?
I think with some of those guys, you might have to spend a bit more than that. And the more of those guys that you bring in, the less of an opportunity they might see, because the team has more options, so it becomes less appealing. So that's a bit of a dangerous game as well. Ultimately, it's going to be in how they sell, and they're really going to have to identify one or two guys who they believe in most and hope that they break the right way.
Alex Anthopoulos has always said things can change instantly. And yesterday the talk was, oh, maybe we don't need a second baseman. Maybe there isn't that upgrade out there on the market. Well, two names became available today, Ben. Any chance the Blue Jays would show interest in any of them?
Well, I would think that knowing the Blue Jays, they would probably show some interest. They're never afraid to make a phone call and see what the asking price is. I think D. Gordon would be an interesting candidate, a second baseman with a ton of speed who's coming off a good year with the Dodgers. That being said, I would expect the Dodgers to have a lot of interest, and I'd be surprised if the asking price wasn't very, very high.
And the asking price on Omar Infante will probably be a little bit lower because there's so much money attached to him, and he's coming off a terrible year with a .295 on base percentage. But going into that year, he was a highly sought-after second baseman. He's a guy who fits, but I don't know that the Blue Jays are going to be interested in making that sort of financial commitment to a second baseman with Devin Travis waiting in the wings.
Sure, and if they weren't willing to pay for Martin Prado last year's deadline, when you would have gotten him for July, August, September, and then had him for the next 2 years, at money that's probably more than he's worth, I don't know that they'd be willing to go down that road for Infante as well, because I think a lot of people would perceive him to be overpriced for what he is based on the way he performed last year, and maybe that platform for agent year was a bit above the norm for him.
Well, unlike most of the Christmas shoppers here in San Diego, Alex Anthopoulos continues to simply browse, has not yet made a decision on anyone yet to improve his team.